I thought my husband was sleeping beside me, until I realized. It was a complete stranger. My name is Hannah Mercer, and I'm a 34-year-old emergency room nurse who's seen enough chaos to last 3 lifetimes. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the morning that would unravel everything I thought I knew about my life. It started like any other night shift at Seattle General. Code blues, overdoses, car accidents, the usual symphony of human suffering that fills the ER at 3 a.m. I'd been pulling doubles for weeks, saving every penny for the down payment on the house Michael and I had been dreaming about. My feet ached, my scrubs were stained with coffee and God knows what else, and all I wanted was to crawl into bed next to my husband of 5 years. The apartment was dark when I slipped my key into the lock. Michael's shoes were by the door. His jacket hung on the hook, everything exactly as I'd left it 12 hours earlier. I tiptoed through our cramped living room, careful not to wake him. The poor man had been working overtime at his consulting firm, and I knew he needed his rest. Our bedroom door was slightly ajar. I could make out the familiar silhouette under the covers, the gentle rise and fall of breathing. I stripped off my scrubs as quietly as possible, slipped into my pajamas, and carefully lifted the covers. The bed was warm. The body beside me stirred slightly as I settled in, but didn't wake. I pressed my face into the pillow, inhaling what I expected to be Michael's familiar scent of cedar and aftershave. Instead, I smelled something different, cologne I didn't recognize, mixed with something else entirely. But exhaustion won over curiosity. Within minutes, I was dead to the world. The sunlight streaming through our bedroom window woke me around 8 a.m. I rolled over, expecting to find Michael's sleeping face. Maybe steal a few more minutes of quiet morning time before he had to get ready for work. Instead, I found myself staring into the shocked brown eyes of a complete stranger. A man I'd never seen before in my life was lying in my bed, wearing nothing but boxers, looking at me with the same horrified expression I must have been wearing. He was younger than Michael, maybe early 30s, with dark hair and the kind of athletic build that came from regular gym visits rather than manual labor. We both shot upright simultaneously. "Who the hell are you?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. "I should be asking you that," he said, his voice deeper than Michael's, with a slight accent I couldn't place. "What are you doing in my apartment?" "Your apartment." I looked around the room, our bedroom, with our furniture, our photos on the nightstand. "This is my home. I live here with my husband." The stranger ran a hand through his hair, looking as confused as I felt. "Ma'am, I think there's been some kind of mistake. I'm Ethan Cole, and I own this place. I've been away on business for 4 months, and I just got back last night." "That's impossible." I scrambled out of bed, wrapping my robe around me. "I've been living here for 3 years. My husband Michael and I signed the lease." "There is no lease." Ethan swung his legs over the edge of the bed, reaching for his pants. "I bought this condo 4 years ago. I have the deed, the mortgage papers, everything." My heart started racing. This had to be some kind of joke, or maybe I was having a stress-induced breakdown. "Where's Michael?" "Who's Michael?" I grabbed my phone from the nightstand, dialing Michael's number. It went straight to voicemail. "Michael, I need you to call me right now. There's been some kind of mix-up at the apartment. Call me." Ethan was pulling on a shirt, watching me with what looked like growing concern. "Look, I don't know what kind of situation this is, but I can prove this is my place." He walked to the closet, my closet, and pushed aside what I thought were Michael's clothes. Behind them was a small safe I'd never seen before. He punched in a code and pulled out a stack of documents. "Purchase agreement from 2021, he said, handing me the papers. "Mortgage statements, property tax records, insurance policies, all in my name." I stared at the documents. They looked legitimate. Official letterhead, notarized signatures, the works. But this couldn't be right. This was our home. We'd been paying rent to a property management company for years. "I need to find our lease agreement," I said, moving toward the dresser where Michael kept our important papers. But when I opened the drawer, I found something that made my blood run cold. The rental agreement was there, but as I examined it closely for the first time, I noticed the paper quality was wrong. The letterhead looked slightly off. The signatures seemed different than I remembered. "This is fake," I whispered. "What?" "This lease agreement. It's fake." I sank onto the bed, the document shaking in my hands. The paper, the font, even the company logo. It's all wrong. Ethan moved closer, examining the document over my shoulder. "Peninsula Property Management," he read aloud. "I've never heard of them. And look at this address. It's a P.O. box." I tried Michael's number again, still voicemail. "Michael, this is serious. I need you to call me back right now." "When did you last see your husband?" Ethan asked. "Yesterday morning, before I left for work. He was getting ready for a client meeting." I paused, trying to remember. "Actually, he's been working late a lot lately. I haven't seen much of him in the past few weeks." "Has he been acting differently? Stressed? Secretive?" "He's been under a lot of pressure at work," I said automatically, then stopped. Had he been acting differently? I'd been so focused on my own job, my own exhaustion, that I hadn't really been paying attention. "I need to check something," I said, moving to Michael's side of the closet. His clothes were there, but as I looked more carefully, I realized most of them were cheap. The kind of stuff you'd buy at a discount store, not the quality brands Michael usually wore. And there were so few of them, like someone had just grabbed enough to look lived in. "This doesn't make sense," I muttered, pulling out a shirt I'd never seen before. "This isn't his style. He's particular about his clothes." Ethan was watching me with growing alarm. "How long have you been married?" 5 years. We met at a coffee shop near the hospital where I work. He was charming, funny, said he was in consulting. I was talking more to myself than to him. We moved in together after 6 months, got married 2 years later. "And you've been living here for 3 years?" "Yes. Michael said he found this place through a colleague at work. The rent was reasonable, close to the hospital." I trailed off, realizing how little I actually knew about the arrangement. "I need to show you something," Ethan said gently. He led me to the kitchen, where he opened a cabinet I rarely used. Inside were cleaning supplies, but also a stack of mail. "This is 4 months' worth of my mail," he said. "Bills, magazines, everything. It's all been sitting here, unopened." I stared at the pile of envelopes, all addressed to Ethan Cole at this address. "But we get mail here too. Michael's credit card statements, his work correspondence." "Where is it now?" I looked around the kitchen, then moved to the small desk in the living room where we usually kept mail. It was empty. Completely empty. "He must have taken it," I said slowly. "But why would he take old mail?" Ethan was examining the desk, opening drawers. "Look at this," he said, pulling out a folder from the very back of the bottom drawer. Inside were documents I'd never seen before. Multiple driver's licenses with Michael's photo but different names. Social security cards. Even what looked like business cards for various companies. And at the bottom, a lease agreement for another apartment across town, dated just 6 months ago. "Michael Harrison," Ethan read from one of the IDs. "David Mitchell, James Patterson." He looked up at me. "What did you say your husband's name was?" "Michael Mercer. He took my last name when we got married." But even as I said it, I realized I'd never actually seen our marriage certificate. Michael had handled all the paperwork, said it was easier that way. "I think your husband might not be who you think he is." I tried calling Michael again, but this time the number was disconnected. The automated message said the line was no longer in service. "He's gone," I whispered. "He's actually gone." Ethan sat down across from me at the kitchen table. "I'm sorry this is happening to you. This is clearly a lot more complicated than a simple mix-up. I don't understand. Why would he do this? We were happy. We were saving for a house, planning our future." I stopped, a horrible thought occurring to me. Our savings account. I grabbed my laptop and logged into our joint bank account. The balance showed 0. Every penny of our $250,000 down payment fund had been withdrawn 3 days ago. He took everything, I said, staring at the screen. 5 years of my life, all our savings, everything. I'm calling the police, Ethan said, reaching for his phone. Wait. I needed to think. What if he comes back? What if there's some explanation? With fake IDs and a house he doesn't own, I don't think so. But I wasn't ready to accept that my entire life had been a lie. Give me one day, let me try to figure this out, see if I can reach him. Ethan looked skeptical. I don't think that's safe. If he's willing to fake a marriage and steal $250,000, what else is he capable of? Just one day, I pleaded. If I can't reach him by tomorrow morning, we'll go to the police. Okay, but I'm staying here tonight. I'm not leaving you alone in this situation. I wanted to argue, but the truth was, I was scared. The man I'd shared a bed with for 5 years was apparently a complete stranger. I had no idea what he was capable of. That evening, I sat in the living room staring at wedding photos that now felt like evidence of fraud. In every picture, Michael looked relaxed, happy, loving. Had it all been an act? I talked to some of the neighbors, Ethan said, coming back from a walk around the building. Mrs. Chen from 4B said she's seen Michael coming and going for about 3 months, but never saw him before that. She thought he was subletting from me. 3 months? But we've been living here for 3 years. That's what I told her. She seemed confused, said she'd definitely remember a couple living here that long. I tried to think back to 3 months ago. Had anything changed? Michael had been traveling more for work, coming home later. I'd been picking up extra shifts at the hospital, trying to boost our savings. We'd been like ships passing in the night. What if he's been living somewhere else this whole time? I said slowly. What if he only came here when he knew I'd be working late? That would explain why there are so few of his belongings here, Ethan said. And why the neighbors haven't seen him consistently. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hannah, it's Michael. I can explain everything. Meet me at Cafe Luna tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. I love you. I showed Ethan the message. He wants to meet. Absolutely not. This could be dangerous. But if he's willing to explain, Hannah, think about what you've learned today. This man has been living a completely fabricated life. He's stolen your money, your home, your identity in a way. People who do things like this don't just have innocent explanations. I knew he was right. But part of me still hoped there was some misunderstanding. What if I go? But you're there too. Hidden nearby. I think we should call the police first. After the meeting, if he doesn't show, or if his explanation doesn't make sense, we'll call them immediately. Ethan sighed. I have a bad feeling about this. The next morning, I dressed carefully for the meeting, trying to look normal despite the fact that my entire world had collapsed. Ethan drove me to Cafe Luna, a small place near the hospital where Michael and I had gone occasionally. I'll be at the table by the window, he said. If anything feels wrong, anything at all, give me a signal. I nodded, my hands shaking slightly as I walked into the cafe. Michael was already there, sitting at our usual corner table, looking exactly like the man I'd married. Same smile, same clothes, same wedding ring. Hannah, he said, standing to hug me. I'm so glad you came. I stepped back, not letting him touch me. Explain. Can we sit down first? This is complicated. I remained standing. Start with your name. Your real name. His smile faltered slightly. It's Michael. Michael Harrison. Actually, I legally changed it to Mercer when we got married. I've never seen a marriage certificate. I have it in my safe deposit box. I can show you. What about the apartment? The man who owns it showed up yesterday. Michael's expression changed, becoming colder. Ethan Cole, I was wondering when he'd surface. You know him? We have a business relationship. He's been letting me use the place while he was traveling. He has no idea who you are, Michael. He's never seen you before in his life. He's lying to you. Hannah, Think about it. Some stranger shows up claiming to own your home, and you believe him over your own husband? I felt a moment of doubt. Michael sounded so sincere, so much like the man I'd fallen in love with. But then I remembered the fake documents, the empty bank account, the multiple identities. "Show me the marriage certificate," I said. "I don't have it with me." "Then we're done here." I turned to leave. "Hannah, wait." He grabbed my arm, and something in his grip was different, harder, more desperate. "I'm in trouble, real trouble. I need your help." "What kind of trouble?" "I owe some people money. A lot of money. They're not the kind of people you want to disappoint." "How much money?" $1.5 million. I stared at him. "Are you insane? Where would you even get that kind of money?" "I was trying to make us rich. Hannah, I got involved in some investments, some opportunities that seemed too good to pass up. But they went bad, and now these people want their money back." "So you stole ours?" "I borrowed it. I was going to pay it back with interest." "With what?" "You don't even have a job, do you?" All those late nights, all those business trips, it was all lies. Michael's mask was slipping. The charming, loving husband was disappearing, replaced by someone desperate and dangerous. "I need you to help me. Hannah, we can get through this together." "Help you how?" "The house you wanted to buy, we can still get it. But I need you to take out a loan against it, use it as collateral." "For what?" "To pay back what I owe." "It's the only way we can have a life together." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want me to go into debt to pay off your gambling debts?" "They're not gambling debts. They're business investments that went wrong." "I don't care what you call them. The answer is no." Michael's expression hardened completely. "You don't understand the situation. Hannah, these people don't just ask nicely for their money back. They have ways of making sure they get paid." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm warning you. If I don't pay them back, they'll come after everyone I care about. That includes you." I looked toward the window where Ethan was sitting, and Michael followed my gaze. "You brought him here?" Michael's voice was dangerously quiet. "I brought backup. That was a mistake." Michael stood up, tossing money on the table. "I tried to do this the easy way. Hannah, I really did. But if you're going to choose a stranger over your own husband, then you'll have to live with the consequences." He walked out without another word, leaving me shaking at the table. Ethan was beside me in seconds. "What happened? What did he say?" "He wants me to take out a loan to pay his debts. He says he owes dangerous people money." "How much?" $1.5 million. Ethan let out a low whistle. "We're calling the police. Right now." Seattle Police Detective Megan Brooks was everything I'd hoped for in a law enforcement officer: sharp, professional, and clearly experienced with financial crimes. She listened to our story without interruption, taking notes and asking pointed questions. "This is more common than you might think," she said when we'd finished. "Romance fraud combined with identity theft and property fraud. Your husband, or whoever he is likely part of a larger operation." "What kind of operation?" "Professional con artists who target women with stable incomes and good credit. They build relationships, gain trust, then systematically drains their victims' resources." "But we were married for 5 years. That's a long time to maintain a fake relationship." "Not if the payoff is big enough. $250,000 plus whatever credit and property he can access through you. That's a significant score." I felt sick. "So none of it was real?" "I'm sorry. Mrs. Mercer?" "Probably not." "What happens now?" "We'll start with the financial fraud, the stolen money from your account. Then we'll work on the identity theft, the fake documents, the property fraud. This is likely a federal case, which means we'll be working with the FBI." "How long will it take?" "These cases can take months, even years. In the meantime, I need you to be very careful. If he's involved with dangerous people, as he claims, he might try to pressure you again." "What should I do if he contacts me?" "Don't meet with him alone. If he calls, record the conversation if possible, and call us immediately. We spent the next 2 hours going through everything: bank statements, the fake lease, the multiple IDs we'd found. Detective Brooks photographed everything and took detailed statements from both Ethan and me. "One more thing," she said as we were leaving. "Mr. Cole, I'd recommend you change your locks and maybe consider staying somewhere else for a few days. If this man has been living in your apartment for months, he probably has keys." That night, Ethan and I sat in his hotel room, both too wired to sleep. We'd been through something surreal together, and I was starting to realize he was the only person who truly understood what I was going through. "I keep thinking about signs I missed," I said. "Things that should have told me something was wrong." "Like what?" "He never wanted to go to work events together, said his company was very private, didn't allow spouses at functions, and he never wanted me to visit his office." "Did you ever meet any of his colleagues?" "No. He said they were all very boring, that I wouldn't like them." I laughed bitterly. God, I was so stupid. "You weren't stupid. You were trusting. That's not the same thing. How do you trust anyone after something like this?" Ethan was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know. But I think you start by accepting that not everyone is like him." My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hannah, it's Michael. I know you went to the police." I motioned for Ethan to be quiet and put the phone on speaker. "I told you not to do that." Michael continued. "Now you've made things complicated for both of us. What do you want?" "I want you to call Detective Brooks and tell her you made a mistake. Tell her we worked things out, that it was just a misunderstanding." "I'm not going to do that." "Yes, you are. Because if you don't, I'm going to make sure you regret it." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm promising you, you have no idea what you're dealing with, Hannah. The people I owe money to don't care about your feelings or your sense of justice. They just want their money, and they'll get it one way or another. That's not my problem. It is your problem, because I told them about you, about your savings, your credit, your steady job. They know you exist, Hannah. And if I can't pay them back, they'll come looking for alternative payment methods." The line went dead. "He's bluffing," Ethan said immediately. "He's trying to scare you." "What if he's not?" "Then we call Detective Brooks right now." I was about to dial when we heard a knock at the hotel room door. Ethan looked through the peephole and cursed under his breath. "It's him." "How did he find us?" "He must have followed us from the police station." The knocking continued, more insistent now. "Hannah, I know you're in there. We need to talk." Ethan motioned for me to stay back while he approached the door. "She doesn't want to talk to you. Leave now. Or I'm calling security." "This doesn't concern you, Ethan. This is between me and my wife." "She's not your wife." "Actually, she is. We have a marriage certificate and everything, legal and binding." I grabbed Ethan's arm. "Don't open the door." "Hannah, please." Michael's voice was softer now, more like the man I'd fallen in love with. "I know you're scared, but I can protect you. We can work through this together." "Work through what? Your lies, your theft, your threats?" "I never meant for it to get this complicated. I love you, Hannah. I always have." "You have a funny way of showing it. Open the door. Let me explain properly." "No." The knocking stopped. For a moment, I thought he'd given up. Then I heard his voice again. But he was talking to someone else. "Yeah, she's here, room 412. "No, she won't listen to reason." Ethan grabbed the hotel phone and dialed the front desk. "This is room 412. I need security up here immediately. Someone is harassing us in the hallway." "Sir, security is on the way." We waited in tense silence until we heard footsteps and voices in the hallway. Then a knock, but different this time. "Hotel security. Is everyone okay in there?" Ethan opened the door to find 2 security guards and no sign of Michael. "There was a man here threatening us," I said. "Did you see him?" "We saw someone getting into the elevator as we arrived." One of the guards said, "Can you describe him?" I gave them Michael's description, and they promised to check the security cameras and increase patrols on our floor. "We should leave," Ethan said after they'd gone. "Find somewhere else to stay." "Where?" "He seems to know everywhere we go." "I have an idea." Detective Brooks met us at the police station at 11 p.m., looking like she'd been expecting our call. "He contacted you again?" "He threatened me, said he'd told dangerous people about me, that they'd come after me if he couldn't pay them back." "We're taking this seriously. I've already put in a request for federal assistance. This is bigger than just fraud now." "What do you mean?" "If he's actually connected to organized crime, if these threats are real, then we're looking at extortion, possibly money laundering, potentially human trafficking if there are other victims." The scope of what I'd gotten involved in was starting to sink in. "How many other women do you think he's done this to?" "We're investigating that now. But based on the fake documents you found, probably several." "What happens to me now?" "We're going to set up a safe house for you, and we're going to use you as bait." "What?" "With your permission, we'd like to arrange a meeting with your husband, somewhere we can control, where we can arrest him safely." I looked at Ethan, who was shaking his head. "That sounds dangerous." "It is dangerous," Detective Brooks admitted, "but it's also the fastest way to end this. Every day he's free, he's potentially victimizing other women and escalating his threats against you." "What would I have to do?" "Call him. Tell him you're willing to help with his debt problem. Arrange to meet somewhere public, somewhere we can position officers without being obvious." I thought about it. The alternative was spending months, maybe years, looking over my shoulder, wondering if he was going to make good on his threats. "I'll do it." "Hannah, no." Ethan said, "This is crazy." "It's the only way to end this." Detective Brooks nodded. "We'll have you completely covered. Multiple officers, surveillance, the works. He'll never get close enough to hurt you." "When?" "Tomorrow. Give us time to set everything up." The next morning, I made the call from the police station, with Detective Brooks and 2 FBI agents listening in. "Michael, it's Hannah." "Hannah, are you ready to be reasonable?" "I've been thinking about what you said. About the people you owe money to. And I don't want anything to happen to me. If helping you is the only way to stay safe, then I'll help." There was a long pause. "You're not lying to me?" "I'm scared, Michael. I just want this to be over." "Okay, but we meet alone. No police, no Ethan, just us." "Where?" "Pike Place Market, the flower vendors near the fish market, 2 p.m. I'll be there." "And Hannah? If I see any cops, any sign this is a setup, I'm gone. And you won't see me again until it's too late." He hung up. "He's paranoid," Agent Martinez said. "That's good. Paranoid people make mistakes." "How are you going to cover me in a crowded market?" "We'll have plainclothes officers positioned throughout the area. Tourists, vendors, customers. You won't be able to tell who's who." "What if he runs?" "He won't get far." At 1:45 p.m., I was walking through Pike Place Market with a wire taped to my chest and an FBI agent's voice in my earpiece. The market was busy with tourists and locals, the perfect cover for law enforcement. "Target approaching from the north," came the voice in my ear. I saw Michael walking toward me, and for a moment, he looked exactly like the man I'd married. Same confident stride, same charming smile. But now I could see the calculation behind his eyes, the way he scanned the crowd for threats. "Hannah," he said, reaching for my hand. "I knew you'd come around." "I don't have a choice, do I?" "We always have choices. You're just finally making the smart one." "What do you need me to do?" "I need you to sign some papers, loan documents. We can get the money we need to pay these people back and disappear together." "Disappear where?" "Somewhere warm, somewhere they'll never find us." "What about my job? My life here?" "You can be a nurse anywhere." "Hannah. But you can only be alive if we handle this situation properly." I looked around the market, wondering where all the FBI agents were hiding. What kind of papers? A mortgage application. We're going to buy that house you wanted, remember? The one with the big kitchen and the garden? With what money? Your credit is excellent, Hannah. And nurses have very stable income. We can get approved for a significant loan. And then what? You take the money and disappear? We take the money and disappear. Together. He pulled out a manila envelope from his jacket. I need you to sign these now. Here? Why not? It's just paperwork. I opened the envelope and saw what looked like legitimate loan documents. But as I read more carefully, I realized they were for a house that didn't exist, with a down payment that was impossible, and terms that would put me in debt for the rest of my life. This is fraud, I said. It's survival. Michael replied, sign the papers, Hannah. And if I don't? Then you'll find out just how serious the people I owe money to can be. Subject has produced documents, I said, hoping the wire was picking up my voice. Appears to be loan fraud. Michael's expression changed instantly. What did you just say? I said the documents appear to be legitimate. No, you said something else. You said loan fraud. He was looking around the market now, more alert, more suspicious. I don't know what you mean. You're wearing a wire. Michael, you're being paranoid. Show me. What? Show me your chest, now. I'm not doing that in public. Then we're done here. He started to back away. Michael. Wait. You betrayed me. Hannah. You actually betrayed me. I'm trying to protect myself. From what? From me? I'm your husband. You're a con artist who stole my money and threatened my life. People in the market were starting to stare. Michael realized he was drawing attention and lowered his voice. This isn't over, he said. You have no idea what you've just done. Subject is fleeing, I said into the wire. He's heading toward the waterfront. We see him, came the voice in my ear. Stay where you are, Hannah. We've got him. I watched as Michael pushed through the crowd, moving fast but trying not to run. Then I saw them. Plainclothes officers closing in from multiple directions. Michael sensed it too, because he suddenly broke into a sprint. He almost made it to the street before they tackled him. Michael Harrison, you're under arrest for fraud, theft, identity theft, and extortion. Agent Martinez said, pulling him to his feet. You have the right to remain silent. Michael looked back at me as they handcuffed him. This isn't over, Hannah. You hear me? This isn't over. But it was over. I knew it. And deep down, so did he. The trial took place 6 months later. By then, the FBI had uncovered evidence of at least 8 other women Michael had defrauded over the past decade. The total amount stolen was over $2 million, and he'd been living under various identities across multiple states. I testified about our relationship, about the fake marriage, about the threats he'd made. It was difficult reliving everything, but I needed to see it through to the end. Michael was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for fraud, identity theft, extortion, and money laundering. The judge called him a predator who systematically destroyed the lives of innocent women. As I left the courthouse that day, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: freedom. The man who had stolen 5 years of my life was finally going to pay for what he'd done. I never looked back.